This is an hour of invitation, an invitation to enter into an ancient story. Let us then recognize through this worship and practice that this is not a story of other people in distant lands and experiences which we have never touched. The Good Friday story asks us to believe and to practice the art of mourning, mourning in response to grief and loss. And who among us did not arrive today with some measure of this tucked deeply into our garments? Rest assured, what you have brought with you today, whatever measure of loss and death that has pricked your heart, all of this is welcome. Good Friday precedes Easter for a reason. It invites us to pay attention to some difficult truths about the human experience. That separation does often precede connection. That betrayal is an invitation to reconciliation. That our suffering is the genesis of our wholeness. That fear can inspire love. That letting go is often the first act of freedom. Grief, the mother of our joy. That death is not separate from life, but the very stuff of life. That every sorrowful ending presents us with the choice to begin. And so let us begin by lifting our voices in singing number 340, Though Gathered Here to Celebrate. From the hand of Yehuda Halevi. 'Tis a fearful thing to love what death can touch, a fearful thing to love, to hope, to dream, to be, and oh, to lose. A thing for fools this, a holy thing to love, for your life has lived in me, your laugh once lifted me. Your word was gift to me. To remember this brings painful joy. 'Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing, to love what death has touched. Would you please join in responding with the choir with the words printed in your bulletin this morning to Ubi Caritas. We will sing it 6 times in response to their first singing, completing the number 7, an ancient number representing the completeness of a life now past. The elements here before you tell a story of everything. They tell the story of the great poetry of the authors of Genesis, whose vision of the beginnings of life have come through the ages to a community such as this that could celebrate it truly as life is meant to be celebrated, with a deep awareness of its present value. In the beginning, there was a light called Ruach, a spirit. And it hovered over the deep, the dust of 1 trillion burned stars. And the light breathed into the dirt, and it made one named Adam, the dirt being. It made you and me. And yet Adam was alone in the world. And seeing this aloneness, the one who gave life said, I shall bring one alongside you, for to be truly alone is not the intention of life. And so one they later called Eve came alongside. Her name in the ancient language meant the divine fire window. Have you, yes, you have been blessed by one such as this who has come along in your life, who has shown you the window which both reflects yourself and lets you see the whole world? I ask you to take time now in the silence that follows the ringing of this singing bowl to offer your gratitude in several minutes of silence to one who has indeed come alongside you to make the journey of life. whether they are living or since past, to take time to become fully present in this hour to the deep beauty, value, and meaning of the weaving of our life with another. Let's gather our hearts and minds in a time of prayerful attention. Let us dedicate this hour in the name of the one who has come to walk with us, and to the many ones who make the fabric of this life. Amen. Our lives are much like the burlap cloth you see ascending the stairs to the lights and the stars that have made your life. It is a path that begins in spirit and moves through earth. And as we are breathed into life, we begin to construct a tapestry of 1,000 million threads of every moment of experience, of every place and circumstance. And yes, most profoundly, of those people with whom we have shared our lives. And over time, each of us weaves a unique tapestry. This weaving of our lives is out of faith and hope and love and joy. And at times this weaving can be so sweet that we can forget that we are but made of breath and ash. And this is how it was for those who followed the good Rabbi Jesus of Nazareth. They had woven him so deeply and profoundly into the fabric of the tapestry of their lives that he became a central thread with which they believed they could not live without. Indeed, he became one known as Messiah, Christos, the one who would bring life and life abundant to the tattering fabric of the poor and the oppressed. But the powers of Roman oppression would not have this voice, this thread of liberation in the cloth they wove for those whom they dominated. And it works this way in our lives too, doesn't it? Those threads which we weave so deeply, we believe we cannot live without them. And those who would come to tear them from the fabric of our lives. Not just the people, but the circumstance, the unexpected, the chaos of this gift of life woven by 1,000 million threads. Death pricks the heart. And if you've lived very long, it has pricked yours. And so we sit in this beautiful yet darkened space called sanctuary on a Friday, strangely called good. And for what? Why? The answer is we come to gather with an ancient story to practice the spiritual art of mourning, so that when the story turns out to be our own and not of another, we would have skill and gift to set forth our lives in this way of honoring that we are but light and stars, here for just a time. Judaism, the faith of Jesus, indeed provides an extraordinary path for us to practice this art of mourning. It is to them not a disease to be medicated, but death is in fact essential to life. It is a practice that asks us to touch death from within the community of the living. Mourning is a communal act in which every strand of our lives is invited to participate. Mourning requires us to enter with intention into relationship, not distance. Death and loss become thus incorporated into the texture and the fabric and the profound beauty of this cloth we weave. And religion need not require that we wallow in darkness for the sake of suffering itself. Jesus would be appalled by the idea that we should suffer because he did. The care of our soul does, however, require that we learn from the whole fabric of life, which comes in birth and in death, always in equal measure to each of us. And so our intention today in this ritual is to reach out and touch the part of love, the part of the God of your understanding that is death. And not to cover that with reality, with dreams of eternity, or an afterlife or a rebirth, but to face today in this hour not a sure knowledge of an Easter that will come, but of the power and the beauty and the importance of being present with the end of things. And so in this time that follows, I ask you to bring to your heart and mind something, someone, a circumstance, an ability, whatever it is that has died. Whatever thread of the fabric of your beautiful life is no more. I ask you to bring that into your heart and mind, and if it's helpful to quite literally place your hands upon your chest and feel the heartbeat of that life. Be there a moment with the one who is gone. If it is helpful, speak their name silently into the rhythm that joins your own heart. Let us be in a time of prayerful intention.
Fakeifa sigaru
The act of petition is one in which the individual calls to the God of their understanding, the source of life as you know it, for help. It is one of this culture's least practiced arts. And so as we sing a song of petition to come down, O love divine, I welcome you to, with your voice, and let us remain seated as we sing. Petition for the help that you will need to come forward shortly and practice this final and sacred art of Good Friday. Number 271, Come Down, O Love Divine. When the prophets of old had failed, when the people would not hear, when death had come instead of life, they clothed themselves in sackcloth and went to the center of the square where they took ashes and covered themselves. They did this to say to the fabric of the community in which they were intertwined, I have reached the limit of my hope. I am confused and angry and sad. And I need you to see my grief. Luckily for them, there is an equally ancient tradition of the two lights. One in which makes the promise that between the remembering of the story of old and the keeping of one's lived experience, there is a mysterious center into which we might lean our days. And so I ask you, as you have need this day, and as you might be willing to join this community in speaking its grief, its unique thread in the tapestry of our life together, to come forward and to do this thing which is hard. It is to say goodbye. We can choose in our culture to say farewell, which means I won't see you for a while. But today, in honor of the life of one who has moved millenniums of people to love and life abundant, and in honor of your own losses, I welcome you to come forward to say goodbye. God be with you is where that comes from. And to take of the ash and to scatter it into the mystery towards the light and the stars from which we had come. And in whatever way would be truly life-giving, to make this goodbye the first word in a richer and deeper tapestry of the life you have yet to weave. Come, friends, all is ready. The promise of life is before you. Won't you please add your thread?